Do you know the one thing that the average American fears above death? It's public speaking. In fact, the somewhat morbid saying goes that the average person would rather be in the casket than having to speak at the funeral. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if there was a simple formula that works predictably and universally for whatever it is you need to communicate or whoever the audience is? We all have something to share with the world, whether that's with 5 people or 5 million. And because we're for you, we want to provide you with a tool we use at Northpoint for all kinds of different types of communication. The framework I'm speaking about is what we call Me, We, God, You, We. And it's something that we first learned years ago from Andy Stanley in a book called Communicating for a Change. Now, if you heard the word God in there and panicked, thinking, hey, church is not where I do my communicating, just wait, I promise it's universal. It's kind of like in music. You just have a couple of notes to work with, but based on how you arrange or sequence or stack those, all genres of music open up to you. Once you have this formula, the world of communication opens up. So let's jump right in. The Me section stands for connection. It's the opening seconds of your presentation, video, speech, or even conversation, and your audience is subconsciously or consciously wondering, do I trust this person? Do they have something of value to add? In a world of distractions and so much competing for our attention, you have to grab their curiosity, or more importantly, connect with them right off the bat. Tools to do this include compelling stories, self-depreciating humor, perhaps an unexpected question, stat, or quote. Kind of like the question, do you know what the average American fears above death? In Me, We, God, You, We, the we then speaks to building the tension. You have to tell your audience why they need to know what it is that you have to share before you actually tell them what it is that they need to know. They have to feel the gap, the need, the pull, to feel like this is going to matter to them. Here's one from church world that I think paints this pretty well. What if I was doing a message on relationships and I said, hey, nobody intends to get divorced, yet 50% of marriages end that way. But what if I told you there was one thing you could do to decrease those odds from 50% to 1%? There was a Dr. Phil study done years ago with more than 10,000 couples, and they found that through one habit, if couples do this one habit, 99% stay together. Even if that's half true, wouldn't you want to know what it is? See, what we did there was we told the audience that they need to know something before we actually told them what it is. The marriage silver bullet, you're wondering? Pray together out loud on a daily basis. Now, could you imagine if I had just said, welcome to church, and all of you need to pray more? That's like Christianity 101. Nobody would have been surprised or cared. But by building the tension that is universal, because no matter what you believe about Jesus, everybody wants a better marriage, now people are more likely to lean in. Then there's the God section. Now, in my line of work, I'm always trying to lead people to something that is true. And as a follower of Christ, our source of truth is the scriptures. My goal is that hopefully the audience already feels connected, they felt the tension, and they're expecting those verses hold a solution to their problem. Now, I want to make those verses come to life through stories, humanizing characters, making them more relatable, providing relevant context, or using images and illustrations because people learn in all kinds of different ways. But here's the thing, let's say you're in the 99% of people watching this that don't work at a church. You still have something that you believe to be true or helpful that you need to communicate. And so this section is every bit as relevant to you. I was a marketing major in business school, and I used this same outline in every presentation I gave. But instead of sharing from the Bible, I talked about the interview I'd conducted, what the market research said, the conclusions from our project, or maybe presented a full marketing plan. Whatever your truth is, you still want to present it in a way that will be memorable, engaging, or story-like. The You section is the application. Ultimately, the win of any presentation is that somebody would accept your call to action, that they would do something different in their lives, meaning you've helped them in some way. I mean, if they like you, but don't do anything different, then really, you failed. I've been in more than one message where I walked away with chills, perhaps tears. I laughed hysterically. I told somebody that my mind was blown or something that was said was so deep. And then my friend asked what it was about. And I could hardly even describe it. I just say, you got to go watch it. It may have been good to me, but that wasn't good communication. Sometimes the most impactful messages aren't even the ones that blow me away in the moment, but they're the ones where I remember what to do differently a week later. Your application has to be clear, simple, and as often as possible, I would argue there's just one. People just don't remember much more than that. The more often you can get your application into one memorable, digestible statement, the more likely it is that they do something days later. This is really what makes the difference between average and great communicators. When you can transfer a thought, an idea through sounds into a mind and heart of another, and they so resonate with that person that they do something different, you've succeeded. Now, in my line of work, I suggest giving credit to God for that process, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't structure your message in such a way that people don't know what to do. And finally, the last we is inspiration. No matter how black and white or logical your personality is, we are creatures of emotion and feeling. We can't deny it. We've been designed that way. So the best messages are going to tap into those parts of the human heart. Even more than remembering what you said, people will remember how you made them feel. And so to move them to action, you want to help them visualize a different future where they do what you said, buy your product or service, etc. And in that process, they feel that the future is possible and better. For example, in this message, I could ask, what if you weren't afraid to speak anymore? What if your ideas inspired others? What if someone else's story could be different because of what you have to say, and all you've needed all along was this roadmap? I actually believe those things are true, but those are the inspiration statements. They usually start with just imagine, what if, could you picture? So there you have it. Me, we, God, you, we. Me is connection. If I'm communicating, I want people to connect with me. I want them to connect with you. We, what is the tension that we all feel? God, what is the truth, the idea that will resolve that tension? You, what do I want you to do? What would the next step be for your audience? And then we, let's imagine our new future if we do this application. At the end of the day, I hope this helps bring your message to someone who really needs to hear it.